Hold on, everybody. I have to hold on. There we go. Had some had a item going on in the background. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. What a morning it is. We are starting day. I knew that was going to happen. I hope I didn't break my pen. These things are getting expensive, and it's like my third or fourth one I've broken. All right, so we are getting closer to the end of CMP2. It is day 2. I've got a 5 o'clock meeting, so you got me for about 20 minutes. Let's see exactly if I can go back, because I'm thinking I might be able to go back live after that. Yeah, I can do around 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9 o'clock Eastern time, 6 a.m. will be when my meeting stops. Mr. Snyder, good morning. 2026, there's a lot of stuff going on for 2026, Willie. And then I have another meeting, and then that's from 6 to 7:30, so I'll be listening to that one as I go downstairs. All right, so yesterday, man, I tell you what, I thought yesterday was moving along pretty fast. We had I think, a pretty good day on panel 2. I'll tell you how far we got. We finished 210.8. 210.8, unless something is reopened. Well, I do have to reopen one at the very end, and that is there is an informational note that we have that's different between the parent text, and it's on the special purpose GFCI. We made some we made some discussions. It's early here, and I'm going to go to I'm going to the next edition, and I'm going to view public comments. I am having some allergy attacks. This happens to me when I travel. I don't know, it's the cleaning agents that they put in these rooms. I come in, and my eyes water up, my nose starts to run. So I took some pills last night. I took, what do they call that? It's a Tylenol nighttime. It is unbelievable. What's Willie saying? EVSC has some amazing technology. Great show yesterday. Oh, where were you at? A great show yesterday. Yeah, so I was like, where were you? Where were you, Willie? What show are you talking about? I got it. Yeah, we had. So here was interesting. We had a good discussion. There was a gentleman there that broke into he came over. He wanted to go live with us. It was me and Nihad, and I think Ryan Jackson was there, the whole bit. So we had a great discussion, and EVSE was discussed. There were, and I'm not sure where they're going to go, but there's some concerns about the reverse power feed breakers, and honestly, that needs a standards change and not a code change. There just needs to be some changes to what are the performance requirements, and how do you handle reverse power through a GFCI. So, all right, so let's talk about this. 210, man, I tell you, we had a bang up day. So yesterday we finished, like I said, 210.8. I've got one item that I have to open. We got to 210.8 in our yesterday's report, I think. Yesterday morning's report. I'll tell you what we did with D. Here's what we did with D. So this was the debate. We were talking about 210.8D, branch circuits for specific appliances. And the desire, so here's the desire of, I can't speak for panel 2. I can't speak for any of the members on panel 2. I can just tell you where my head's at. And I'm going to tell you where my head's at. My head is that having the GFCI, the ground fault circuit interrupter protection inside the branch circuit, when you are applying the National Electrical Code, let's say you're building a new house and you identify that where you're going to put an electric range, or that you're going to put an electric range and you have a receptacle there for the electric range or for the wall-mounted cook ovens or clothes dryers or microwave ovens and things like that. And these are outlets for those. So my thought is, and this is my personal opinion, and you know what that means. That means we all have one, right? So, but in any case, I have a desire to keep that into the branch circuit because that will protect any vintage of appliance that is connected to that circuit. If a homeowner elects, for example, let's just talk, I don't know, any one of these. If I bring in any vintage, we bring in the So Willie, I'm glad somebody out there thinks it's a good compromise, because neither of us got, I think, what we want. Well, the other panel hasn't seen it yet, panel 17. But my thoughts are, we want it in there so any future change any change in those appliances is protected. And then 422 will maintain the list. Okay, so what we did was we said in 210.8D, we changed the title to branch circuits supplying specific appliances. That way, there's no misinterpretation that we are requiring GFCI to be in the appliance. The purview of Article 210 is the branch circuit. And if 210 wants to put GFCI in the branch circuit for circuits that are identified as supplying an appliance, well, just like we do, think about this. We, in 210.8A, what do we say? We say dwelling units, all 125 volt through 250 volt receptacles installed in the following locations. If we decide that you have to move 210.8D to 422 because you mention GFCI for appliances, then we have to move 210.8A over to 406? Is it 406? No, 404. We have to move that to 404 or 406 wiring devices. We'd have to move that over to 406 for receptacles because we have a requirement for receptacles. That mentality doesn't make sense. What we are using the receptacle in this case and the appliance in the other case to identify which branch circuit. Now, I could be all wrong on that, but that's my thought. So what we did, and what the code panel did, and we got more than just a simple majority. We had a task group on this, and we had 21 people in that task group, and we all agreed to this language. 21. I have the list. GFCI protection shall be provided for branch circuits or outlets supplying the appliances identified in 422.5. So the compromise is we point to 422.5 for the list, and we maintain the branch circuits, the GFCIs for that. Now that will place the responsibility of protecting the general public from the hazards that arise from the use of appliances in 422. I think it's a good compromise. I agree with you, Willie. I'm glad somebody out there agrees that that's a good compromise. I wish the whole list was here because panel 2, so here's my issue with the list. Panel 2 saw the Consumer Product Safety Commission reports. They know the data and the person, the individual who drove the addition of microwaves and wall-mounted ovens and electric ranges and counter-mounted cooking units. The individual who made that happen was an individual who argued adamantly against putting those appliances in the beginning of the discussion. That individual reached out to me. I directed them over to the Consumer Product Safety Commission and said, if you need data, go talk to them. I don't have the data. I'm not going to give you the data. I had the data, but no one's going to believe me. So go to somebody else. Don't go to a person who is passionately for something when you want, hey, where's the data for this? Don't ask me. I'm sitting there arguing for it. And then in anything you get from me, you're probably not going to trust anyway. You're going to take it with a grain of salt and go, oh, this is bullcrap. Go find your source for data. And he did that. And on the next task group call, he was there at the table saying, hey, look, this is what I found, and I think we should add these items. And we put those items in. So remember, I try to run off of data. I try to run off of information wherever I can. But then there's that line where you say, look, I know what the hazard is. I'm the professional. I know what the hazard is, and I want to avoid a death. And I want to avoid the injury. And we had that discussion yesterday, Willie. And some of those were based on abnormal use of equipment. That's exactly right. And all the more reason for GFCI. Remember, we don't need shock protection if you used everything correctly. Willie, I'm with you. There's a big misunderstanding that, hey, you misapplied it. We believe in the gene pool. That's not a good thing. I don't care if you're qualified or unqualified. You shouldn't die from electricity. I don't care if you use or abuse the appliance. You should not perish from the ill effects of electricity. And if we know that's occurring and we see it occurring, why not protect it? So anyway, that's 210IT, and that's my opinion. I'm going to get off my soapbox. Everybody deserves a soapbox. It's okay. It is okay. Whether you're right, wrong, or indifferent, it's okay to get on a soapbox. And this is a free country. State your opinion. And that's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. And if you don't have an opinion, I'll give you mine. All right, so let's take a look. So I think we talked about 210.8F. That was the only one. So we already talked about 210.8F, I think. This is where I need to fix the informational note. So I have a note to change the note. I'm going to motion to reopen that to align the informational note in 210.8F to match almost exactly, except for 210.8 parent text. We have an informational note on the special purpose on HF and HF plus, and we reference 943. In the informational note for 210.8F, we're going to reference the outline of investigation UL 943C, and we're going to but make everything else match what's in the other one. Consistency is very important. So, Willie. Okay, Willie, I see where you're going. The NEC only covers normal use. No, I disagree. I absolutely disagree with you. And you have every right to be wrong. You have every right to be wrong, just like the other guys. Anybody else, and I have every right to be wrong as well. The NEC, if the NEC covered normal use, you wouldn't need any requirements. It's not normal to touch an energized bus, so you don't need dead fronts. It's not normal to overload a circuit. Think about that. If you sized a circuit appropriately, you wouldn't need overload protection. If you used appliances, if you used loads appropriately, you would not need overload protection. You wouldn't. You wouldn't need an overload current protected device. We anticipate faults. We anticipate short circuits. We anticipate abnormal functionality of the power distribution system all throughout the NEC. We design things in to protect the general public and prevent electrical fires. Electrical fires do not occur because of normal use. They don't. It's abnormal use. It's abnormal situations that cause hazards. If we only said, look, you should not be dropping products into water. You should not have an appliance that fails. That you should not touch anything energized. We wouldn't need requirements. So I respectfully disagree. And, it's okay. All right, so we moved past 210.8, and then what's his name? Mr. Nihad El Sharif joined the table with his task group report. He is task group number 2. Branch circuits required. So we made some. Here's what we did in 210.11a. 210.11a was interesting. Instead of saying in no case shall the load on any circuit exceed the maximum specified, we just said the calculated load on any circuit shall not exceed. That's, I think, more of a style manual issue. A and B. B we modified to just handle the fact that they're using the term branch circuit over current protective device, and we're just saying OCPDs in this case. So we reconciled throughout 210 alignment. We created an alignment with the requirements in 210 to match the proper use of the term over current protective device, OCPD. So we were using the term branch circuit OCPD, and now we're going to just use OCPD. But Robert Osborne, one of our panel members, made the statement, look, I'm okay with this, but if panel 10 does not put that definition in, then we have a conflict. And he is absolutely correct. So panel 10 doesn't meet till next week. All right. I'm still congested. I'm getting better though. You know what I need? I need coffee. I haven't had coffee yet. I got 5 minutes till a call, and what I'm going to do is I'll pick it back up again. Let's just keep going, and we'll make this morning short. Means of protection. Oh, so now we're into 210.12, and I'll tell you, we addressed some style manual issues. We had a task group, so we're not done with 210.12, the AFCIs. So there were so many public comments about reorganizing the list in 210.12b. So we had one individual who wanted to just remove the list and then sort of invert it and go to exceptions. Instead of having a list of where it's required, have a list of where it's not required. And so we met on that. The task group isn't completed. And then we had other people who wanted to add different areas of dwelling units into the list. So when we started getting into debate, I think everybody was just like, oh man, what's the right thing? And we, as a larger group, need to think about this. So we had a task group meeting after yesterday's event, which ended around 4:30 California time. And then we met, and then we came up with some options that might be more amenable, that might be liked by more people. So we're going to be looking at that. We got dormitories. No changes in dormitories, nothing. Okay, so then we moved into 210.13. We cleaned that up. We have a first level subdivision, solidly grounded Y electrical systems, and then B, solidly grounded DC electrical systems. So now we have DC requirements in 210.13 for ground fault protection of equipment. We have 210.14 other requirements. So that was a style manual issue. What was that? We didn't add dormitories in 210.17. That was already there. We changed rules to requirements in 210.17. 210.20, we cleaned it. In 210.20, we just cleaned up the use of the term branch circuit over current protected device again. 210.22, we removed some redundant language. An individual branch circuit shall be permitted to supply any load for which it is rated. And then it said, but in no case shall the load exceed the branch circuit ampere rating. Well, that would mean that the individual branch circuit, would not supply the load for which it is rated. It already says that the load has to be what it's rated, what the branch circuit's rated for. So we didn't need that, so we removed that. What else did we do? 210.23, branch circuit loads shall not exceed instead of in no case shall. So we cleaned that up. That's a style manual issue. We updated the ampere summary of the branch circuit requirements for copper conductors. We added, in the column 10A, we added, you know what we need to do? We should have said copper and copper clad aluminum conductors, because we added the ampere rating for, oh no, that's for copper conductors. So we went from, for a 10 amp, we went from 14 amps to 16 amps for a 10 amp. And then we went from 12 to 14 amps in the table 210.24.2. That's your branch circuit requirements for aluminum and copper clad aluminum. And then we said that the 14 amps circuit, number 14, not 14 amps, number 14. Geez, oh man, it's a conductor size, not an amps. And that's the same thing up above. It's a number 16, not 16 amps. It's a number 16 and a number 14 for a 10 amp circuit. Geez, man, forgive me. It's 4:59 in the morning. And then on the second table, ampacity shall be. We got another comment. Oh man, Willie, you won't give up the ghost. You have to follow 70E when you look at a bunch of the new products. Most of them are plastic, so much safer from a touch potential. Yeah, but I don't disagree with you. Anytime you work and perform electrical work, you should always follow 70E. That's safe work practices. Absolutely, Willie. Always follow 70E and 70B when you're doing maintenance. All right, so 210.25, we have an outstanding item. Oh, Ryan Jackson's. We have not acted on PC 1240. We have a conflict. And I'm going to bring it up today before we get into Robert Osborne's. And I'll tell you where the conflict is. Ryan saw it. We have another one we didn't do. Oh, we're not done with Mr. Manchi's task group. That's why. So that's where we ended up today. We are still in Alan Manchi's task group, and so we're for some reason I was thinking we were done with his, but we're not. We're not done with Alan's task group. That is task group 3, so we haven't completed 210.52. We've got to go back. We've got some stuff in kitchen receptacle requirements. We've got some stuff on wall spaces. We had a couple task groups. We had 3 or 4 task groups going on last night. Just, when you get to the larger group, you get a little bit more perspective. So it's all good. What else did we change? So it's all in flux. Everything that I'm talking about might change today, might change tomorrow. It could change in the Knitman process. It can change in appeals. There are so many more opportunities to modify the code. So just keep that in mind, that we are fluid. Everything I'm talking about is just to talk about it. I just want to share with you what's going on and encourage you that if it's at all possible for you to get down to these meetings, to sit in the room and listen. These are public meetings. You can listen. You may not be able to vote. You may not be able to speak during the committee meeting, but you can listen and you can learn, and there is so much to learn during these processes. So much to learn. So many opportunities. I also know that Panel 4 completed their work yesterday. I'm curious what they did in 705, Interconnected Systems. That's always a hot topic. 705.11, they modified some references. Man, I don't know what they changed. They say C Word file attached, and I don't have access to those. So 705.11 changed. 705.20, 705.12 changed too. They have a Word file. When they attach a Word file, that means, woo, doggy. Lots of changes. 705.20, possibly. 705.20 changed about the source disconnecting means, the power source. Service disconnecting means required, and 705.11 shall also be permitted to meet the requirements of this section. Power source disconnecting means shall comply with 705.20A through G. They added live parts. So disconnection, they got some style manual issues. They put a capital D in DC, so identification of capital D, little c, power source output conductors, that's in B. Devil's in the details. They've got some changes in 705.28. I think that's style manual. They got OCPDs. They're picking up the OCPD stuff. So it looks like they had a lot of fun. Looks like panel 4 had a lot of fun with... Doesn't look like many changes in second draft, though. It doesn't look like as many as I was thinking they would have. Let's take a look at 690. Let's take a look at 690. 680, 690. Solar photovoltaic systems. Large scale. Oh, I wonder if they got rid of large scale. Did they move large scale? The large scale photovoltaic electric powers. This article applies to PVs other than. So they didn't change that. They just cleaned up some of the language. Well, panel 4 did a lot. I don't know. Ooh, what did panel 1 do? Panel 1's, I think they're still meeting. Let's take a look at 110. Let's see what they got. I'll tell you what, they made a change to an outlet, which, man, I think, in my opinion, it is absolutely wrong. I hope they go back and fix and clean that up. But the change I just saw earlier, I think we talked a little bit about it yesterday. I do not agree. The more I read it, the more I hear. Whoo! Yeah, we look forward to your public inputs, buddy. Always. Such instructions shall result in an installation. So, I already talked about 110.3b. Let's take a look at 110.14. They cleaned up 110.14. Instead of saying because of differential characteristics of dissimilar metals, they said termination devices, such as pressure terminal, blah, 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 shall be identified, installed, and used for the material of the conductor. Conductors shall not be. So they got rid of, because of different characteristics, they just said, look, use it for the proper, I agree with that, and shall be properly installed and used, and they cleaned up. So they cleaned up the first sentence. I think they didn't change the intent, but they did make it read better. Conductors shall not be intermixed. I agree with that. Intermixed in a terminal or splice connector or soldering lug. So they added soldering lug. That's a good one. What they do in 110.14d, cleaned up an informational note. High leg marking, arc flash hazard, what they do there, that are likely to require examination, adjusting, servicing, or maintenance while energized. So they added the clarity for the arc flash marking, the arc flash label to, hey, Nihad, good morning, sir, good morning, that are likely to require examination, adjustment, servicing, or maintenance while energized. The date the assessment was completed and not when the label was applied. That's a good change, because if you say the date the label was applied, that means I got to print them and get over there and put them on. It's not when you apply the label that you need the date. It's when did you complete the assessment? When did you run the study? When you applied the label doesn't make a difference, right? So if I did the study in 1972 and put the labels on in 1995, I would have met this requirement. They did a good job of cleaning that up. Those panel 1 guys and gals, they know their stuff. Servicing of equipment, they got rid of, and maintenance. Servicing is important. The servicing, so they are addressing the maintenance side. So they're saying servicing of equipment, because we have requirements when you service equipment. We have requirements when you in my opinion, we're screwing up reconditioning, but hey, that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it, Nihad. Oh, and I'm 8 minutes late for my meeting. All right, so hey, everybody, thank you. I am. We will continue our discussions as often as I can. I just wanted to at least go over with you where we were at in this day 2 of NEC 2026. Thanks for joining in. I'll get back maybe sometime today if I can and give you a little update. Thanks for everything. Thanks for joining in, Willie and Nihad. Good morning to you both. I hope you stay safe, and I hope you both, please, stay healthy. Take care, stay safe, and please stay healthy. I got to go get on another call.